Hello, hello. Welcome to the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. I interview the top commercial real estate investors and industry experts so you can learn from their experiences. So if you're an investor, a high W-2 earner, or real estate or tech sales professional that wants to invest in real estate without having to manage properties or leave your day job, then this podcast is for you. Or if you're already investing in real estate, but you're doing it part-time and you want to become a full-time multifamily or full-time commercial real estate investor, this podcast is for you too. You're going to learn a ton. You will learn from real-life multifamily investors and other professionals in the industry. They're going to share their blueprints for success, and I'm super excited that you're here. So I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, hello. This is Abel Pacheco from the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host. Today we have what an amazing guest with us, Mr. Matt Teifke. Matt, am I pronouncing your last name right, brother?
You nailed it, man, and very few people do. Very few people do.
Well, Mr. Teifke, man, I'm super, happy that we got connected to Matt. For those listeners that don't know about him, you're going to learn a little bit more why today will bring you a lot of value and a lot of insight, wisdom, understanding how commercial deals get done. Not every single deal is a $50 million commercial property, but they can add up pretty damn quickly. That's for sure. So I'm excited to hear a little bit more about his story. He is first of all, when he was younger, 18 years old, got Rookie Realtor of the Year in Corpus Christi, Texas. I'm from Corpus. We chatted about it pre-discussion, pre-podcast interview. Just had a great time learning a little bit more about him. He was in Corpus Christi, getting his degree, grinding it out, doing what, a good college kid does, and, Rookie Realtor of the Year, which is just super awesome to beat out everybody that has, all the hours in the day. Got his master's degree at A&M. And currently, Matt manages 750 doors, 750. So just, wrap your head around that for a minute, being a young guy, grinding out, and then also has a wholesaling company. He's got his own brokerage. He's got a construction development company, and we'll just dig in to his portfolio a little bit. But Matt, thank you very much, brother. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate the intro. That was really cool, and glad to be here. And there's a lot of moving parts, so happy to dig in wherever, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, you've done a ton. Every time I give somebody's bio, a lot of people go, "Wow, you make me sound awesome." I go, "Man, that was your hard work. Those are all your bullets, brother." So congrats on all the hard work and grind. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit more about yourself and what you're doing today, and we'll just dig in.
Yeah, man. So it's always funny because it's like, where do you start? I could go on for 30, 45 minutes, but just real estate hustling, man. My mom, single mom, raised my brother and I, ended up having 10, 15 houses that she owned, that I was able to see how that worked. We didn't grow up rich. It's, might sound like you did if you had 15 houses, but we were middle class. Those properties didn't make a ton of money, but she made a lot of sacrifices. And I saw that. I still don't know how she raised a single mom with my brother and I. We're wild guys, and she was working full time, making money, and slowly she bought 2-3 properties a year over 10, 15 years and really built a good portfolio. And so I was just fascinated when I really understood how this all worked. It blew my mind because I had worked all kinds of hard labor, like I'd done asphalt and paving and worked at a rock yard, and I enjoyed stuff like that, but I hated looking at the clock. And once I really understood the concept of buying a house or getting a mortgage and somebody paying that off over time, I was like stuck. So got my license when I was 17 years old in Corpus Christi and kind of bounced around everywhere, man. Like that, tried to grind and always tried to have a mentor that would teach me. I would try to sit down with people, maybe an hour a day, with really like people that were sharp. And then my goal was I want to learn every aspect of real estate. I want to learn about apartment leasing. I want to learn about appraisals. I want to learn about lending. And I want to go do it all. And I wanted to, in my opinion, start at the ground floor, which was what I saw as residential leasing. That's where I wanted to start. And was just very blessed to be around a lot of good companies. This was a small brokerage. They did property management and real estate brokerage. And so I got to understand the value of consistent income on the property management side. That's kind of where it all started. And like, man, it's been a wild ride. I went back home, worked at a commercial brokerage, a guy named Don Quick in Round Rock, and he's like a legend here. And he sat down with me every morning, 7 a.m. for 6 months for 1 hour. He just mentored me. Yeah, it was big. It's so big. And then I got accepted into College Station, and I didn't know what to do because I was at this job, was doing pretty well, but I was like now having to go back to school again, right? Start over. And he's like, you got to go. You have to go do this. And so I did. And it was 2 years of very intense financial analysis, spreadsheets, IRRs, net present value, all that kind of stuff. And then you'd have like a development class taught by a developer, an appraisal class taught by an appraiser, all these things. And all these.
This isn't your master's, or this is the regular undergraduate?
This was the master's.
At A&M.
At A&M.
And it's a real estate degree?
It's a master's of real estate. Yeah.
Wow. Man, they didn't. I don't think they had those programs when, I graduated like in 06. And I don't think I had really seen that, either that or I didn't know about them, but otherwise it may have been different. I may have stayed in Corpus. I went from Corpus to San Antonio to get out of the city, but that's so freaking cool, man.
Dude. And it was, what the thing about it was, like, what's interesting is I shouldn't have got in. Like, I was a grinder, and I didn't have the greatest GPA. I had like a 3.0 or something like that. And so I started looking at this, and A&M Corpus is a lot different than A&M College Station. I mean, it's like not even close. Yeah. So I just didn't think I was going to get accepted. But when I learned about it, I was like, I got to get my grades up. I had about a year. So I got my grades up, got them high. Then I had that experience. And so I was an easy sell, I think, when I would go in and they're like, oh yeah, this guy's, doesn't have the 4.0 in accounting or finance from wherever, but he's got Rookie of the Year. That's why that Rookie of the Year was big for me. Yeah. So I got in, and like, I was over my head, dude. These people were smart. And I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. I understand real estate from a different level, but these numbers and all this stuff, I hate it. But I committed to it. I would go in after hours, and I learned it, and I got good at it. And I found my way to get through that program. But everyone that goes there, they got 100% job placement. They go to JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and they go get a salary and all that. Yeah. I was this one guy who's like, I'm going to go to Austin and be a broker. Yeah. And I started at a retail. So I'll try to give as much color as I can, but I started working at a retail brokerage called Edge. And what happened was, don't let me fool you, I'm not running all these 750 properties to manage. My wife was doing it. And so she started with my mom's houses. There was about 15 at the time. Yeah. And she started managing those, and I was working at the commercial brokerage. And I was doing high-end retail tenant rep. And my bosses were super smart, sharp guys. I was doing the grunt work. They would just tell me to call on the signs, set up the tours, put up the books together. We go wine and dine these clients. It was like Gold's Gym and Dick's Sporting Goods and Blaze Pizza, like all kinds of retailers. And it was a different world, man. And it was like, I was like, man, I'm around some smart people. I'm enjoying this, but it was never me. It was like, you got the slacks and the belt, and everyone kind of looks like bankers. And I felt like it was corporate. Like, I felt like I had a job. I didn't feel like what I liked about real estate, which was something new every day and exciting and around the corners, So eventually what happened was my wife, I was helping her build our company, and we got up to about 250 houses that we managed. It was like, we had 12, we had 40, and we had 70. Yeah. I ran into this guy who owns a company called TDS, Texas Disposal System. And they had like 30 properties, and like, you guys can manage them all. It was like freaking jackpot for me,
Yeah.
And so just building that while I was doing the retail brokerage, learned a lot at the retail brokerage, didn't make a ton of money, but even still getting paid from that today, just because the deals take so long. But, you'd split it with the house, you'd split it with another broker. It turned into like a $60K check into $10K. I was like, I could have sold a house in 30 days and made that. So eventually I teamed up with my wife, and I left the company, and then we started growing the real estate brokerage aspect of it. She was doing the management. And what happened was we took that company and we merged it. We combined with another company that had 400 doors. And then my wife and I now own 33% of this company. And we've got 2 partners, and we're getting 30 doors a month to mentor. So that's one aspect. There's a lot of moving parts, man.
Yeah. Let me pause here too, because there's a ton to dig in, and I want to move forward as well. But the parts that I, really recognize in a highly successful individual is, even in the very beginning, you, number one, convinced, sounds like one of the players in Austin, highly respected, well-known, to give you their time, 7 a.m. for 6 months, an hour every morning. And then as a young kid, you had the dedication and the perseverance and, kind of the follow through to say, I'm going to go do that. And nobody does that mentorship as a high performing individual without the mentee really giving a lot of value back and showing that, you're actually using this information, this coaching. You just don't do that. You don't give that much time to somebody. So I'm sure that was huge, pivotal, right?
Dude,
Your parents or your mom, she had those 15 doors. And as a kid, you growing up and seeing that, you're like, I want to go be, have, do, right? We're just like, our family in, a lot of ways, whether you love them or you're mad at them, in either way, you're a lot like your parents. And, lesson to the parents that are listening. And, if you ever have kids, man, they're going to be like you. So you're going to teach them not with what you say, but how you act. Right. So those are the great lessons to learn. And I can see where you got it from. Do you know if was your grandparents, were they real estate owners too? Was your mom first gen or second gen? And are you second or third? Do you know?
Yeah. Well, there's a cool story. I could talk forever on these things. I'll try to be quick on it, but my grandpa started an asphalt and paving business in Ohio.
Yeah.
And my mom has 10 brothers and sisters. And so they all kind of worked there at the asphalt company as kids. My dad even worked there, and because it's a small town. My uncle saw what my grandpa did and moved to Round Rock, Texas, like 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. And my grandpa, it was a small little business. I would say, I don't know. I had to guess like, 500,000 or $1 million in revenue that in Ohio.
Yeah.
But had a lot of employees and
very respectable, provided a lot of jobs, and just, did hard work
himself. Is in him. And my other grandpa owned a bowling alley, small little bowling alley. So I feel like that entrepreneur is in my DNA.
Yeah.
But my uncle moved to Round Rock whenever he 25 years ago and started what was called Wheeler Coatings. And all of the brothers and sisters moved to work with him. Mm-hmm. And it was right people had the experience and right time because this was in a market that hadn't grown that much yet. Mm-hmm. And ended up selling this company for hundreds of millions. So that's my mom was making money there. That's what allowed her to buy these houses. Yeah. The day he sold his company, he gave every brother and sister $1 million check.
Wow.
And I have 64 cousins. And and I was in college, and he gave me 10 grand. He gave all 6. So that's a crazy whole nother story, but my mom was a big part of that and basically took everything she had from that and bought real estate and sacrificed a lot to get there.
Amazing. What an amazing story. And I could see where you're at. If you can sum up or give us one, maybe 2 nuggets from your childhood till to you acquiring 750, your doors, what would you say you learned the most from your family, or what can we apply, today for the listener?
Great, man. Great question. So I'd say 2 things. One is sacrifice. I think it all comes, you got to, the way I go at it and the things that I'm trying to do, if you want to get there, you got to sacrifice everything. And I've seen people do that. I believe whatever you want to do, if you will sacrifice everything, that you'll get there. I believe that, no matter what it is. You got to sacrifice everything. And the second thing is it's really the people. I've worked for people that I've seen that have like $7 million businesses, $10 million businesses that do very well. and they're very, very intense, and they're high stress, and they're micromanaging. They do a great job. It's their business. They deserve everything. They're the boss. But the way I look at it, and I know that this can't be 100% true, but I believe this, those are the guys that have the 7 million and not the 100, the 200, the 300 million. And the 200, 300 million, like my uncle, were guys that would take care of people and would find people that were extremely loyal and would do the right thing and give out bonuses when you don't have to. And that's why whenever he sold his business, he actually had a non-compete for like 7 years. The day it wore off, he started a new company, and everyone came and worked for him. It was just as big. He has it right now.
Wow.
So I think you just have to find a lot of great people and treat them right and grow together. Like what I've done with my partnerships is divide and conquer. I don't need to own 100%. I'll own 20% or 30%. But if I bring that value, I want to bring that value. And so if you get around those people and you can put in the work, like, I think you can see amazing results.
Man, those are phenomenal points, brother. I'm so glad you kind of shared those two things, because, everyone that has massive success has sacrificed something, time, whatever it was, whether it's their fun thing that they gave up, or an old hobby, or whatever, or just dead relationships, or relationship that wasn't serving you, that was taking you in the wrong path, and they just they had to sacrifice something, time, effort, energy, all of it, and that's why they're at that mountaintop of success. Yeah.
I just am thinking about this. Do you think it's possible for anything great to be done without a crazy amount of sacrifice? Is that possible?
Man, since you asked me this, where my head went to when I heard sacrifice and nothing great can be accomplished in that kind of thing, I think of me personally, I think of one of the greatest sacrifices of the world. And that was, Jesus Christ for me, right? And probably for many others, and probably many listening, that was a huge sacrifice. But because of that, then all of us are, anyone that wants to believe is forgiven, is freed. So to me, that's kind of like, man, that's the ultimate.
Yeah,
there's a huge price.
I love that. Hey, you can't top that.
It's just huge, and it's massive, and it's unquantifiable. And so, anyways, that's kind of where my head goes to.
I love that, man. What I think of, and I'm glad you said that. I think of Kobe Bryant. I think of, he was in the gym all the time. Like, he sacrificed going out to party. He sacrificed, all this other stuff, and that he was the greatest.
Yeah. You give those things up to have a different kind of lifestyle. And then the people, man, that's the difference, like you said, between $7 million business and a $200 million business. How you treat others. And, everyone has their own hopes and dreams and desires. Everyone has their own. And if you can help people get theirs, they're going to volunteer their best. You're not going to have to ask. You're not going to have to hold them down. You're not going to have to, discipline to give their best. They're actually going to volunteer their best. If you can help them achieve theirs, man, you've got the world before you. If you can motivate and influence people to do that because of, they know you're genuinely, sincerely caring about them.
To break it down, it's like the more people that trust, respect you, and want to help you out, the better your life's going to be.
Agree, right? Man. There's no fault in that, my friend. I don't see anything wrong with that statement, man. That's absolutely 100, dude. So yeah, Matt. Well, that's awesome. So we have talked a ton about mindset and all. And this, if you're listening right now, you should probably rewind a few of these nuggets from Matt. Leading into the commercial multifamily side or the commercial property side, you have 750 doors. Now you've applied these nuggets, you grinded, you worked, you networked like crazy, you did your part, and then you were willing to give up a percentage to earn or to own a bigger number of doors. You have a portfolio of 750 doors. I'll say it the hard way.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Because multifamily, it's man, if I'm buying a multifamily, complex, we've got a couple deals that are under contract, and you can have hundreds of doors in one or two transactions, but 750 doors the hard way, that's a lot of work. And then hearing that your wife is, like you said, don't think that I'm doing this on my own. You have an amazing partner that's managing a ton of it, and you were willing to give away a percentage of that so that you can have even a bigger portfolio, because there's benefits in that scale, that in the numbers and that whole thing. So tell us maybe today what your portfolio is, what it looks like, and then tell us about these commercial properties that you've got a number of those commercial property deals in addition to all that.
It's been a grind, man. So the 700 doors, a lot of individual meetings, owners, a lot of BS. It's a negative business. My wife dealt with it. We're looking at maybe even potentially selling and getting out of it. So it could be our first little exit, right? It's kind of cool to say that, but it'd be our first, because it's the first time also that it's a business that I'm a business owner, because I'm not involved in the day-to-day. My wife is, but she gets paid a salary for that. She could not get that salary and just get paid. And so, man, it's been a really, really long way coming. But what I wanted to touch on, which hopefully will be a nugget, is I just found out what I was good at, which was bringing in leads. And I've been able to not do the management and not do the day-to-day, but I'm bringing in leads. And everything with all of our businesses is what that requires of me is construction needs leads, brokerage needs leads, management needs leads, and then finding personal properties. So the 750 is all single family homes, 3-2. We're like kind of cookie cutters, 7% management fee, 30-day contract. I've got 2 other partners, and we're growing fast. So we might be selling. I'm not sure. We're considering that as an option right now.
Yeah, man. Well, good luck and kudos to you on that side. And then you have and then your commercial portfolio.
Commercial, yeah.
And also commercial transactions, because you have a lot of stuff going on, even on the wholesale side and the assignment side. So anyways, talk to us about all that.
Yeah. So really the evolution is I've spent myself personally, since I've been in the business, which is about 11 years now, I've been doing exactly what my mom did, buying, 3, 4, 5 properties per year. And I hit this point where I was like, man, having all these single family is cool, but not really. I want to buy something that cash flows, because I've been buying in Austin, and they cash flow a little, but really they break even. And so my mind started slowly shifting to, a small 20-unit apartments, warehouses, mobile homes, self-storage, all this stuff. So I started looking at it, meeting all the brokers, which is another thing I've done for a long time, is network like crazy. And I went out and met every broker, every wholesaler, and I'm on all the lists. And so then I just start analyzing them. And at this point, we have a couple duplexes, couple fourplexes. We have an 8-plex in New Braunfels. We've got a 14-unit mobile home park. And I've wholesaled a few pretty large deals, 20-unit apartments. And what happened was I was looking at buying it, but then I found someone else, and I was like, hey, maybe they'll buy it from me, and I don't even have to close on it. So we went through that process, and I came to the point where I was like, I can make this much by owning it and flipping it, at the same time invest this much, or I could just make this much and close right now. And so I wholesaled it, made this big fee, and then I did it again, and I did it again, and then I've got another one, and I've seen this major niche in the $1 to $5 million commercial space. And I'm learning, I'm getting all these insights, and it's all just, everything's been evolving to get me here. It's like I see this blue ocean of not a lot of competition. Not a lot of agents represent buyers in that space. It's mostly listing brokers. Most of the listing brokers have the bigger stuff. And so we are just putting them under contract. We're either closing them or we're wholesaling them. And I'm finding this niche, and I'm trying to figure it out, man. It's like, why does this niche exist? And I maybe you can help me with this. Is it because owners don't want to sign buyer rep agreements for listings and with buyer's agents? Like, why does a broker be driven to capture more value instead of just giving it to a certain client? Does that make sense?
Yes. No. Tell me a little bit more. Like, keep
deep,
elaborating.
It's just
keep elaborating.
Well, like, Okay, a guy wants to sell his property right now. For a perfect example, there's a guy that I know, $2.9 million.
Okay.
And I could go list it. I could go list it and start working for him and do all this stuff.
As the broker.
As the broker.
Okay.
But I don't want to because this guy's difficult. Like, he just is. And so I'd rather just find a buyer and put his deal under contract with a price that him and I agree on, and then transfer it to this new buyer and make the difference.
100%. Way easier than listing it and dealing with all this stuff and yada, yada, yada. Yes.
Yeah. And so it works on both ends. I mean, if you have a buyer that's looking for something, say you're a buyer, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're probably going to buy a property. And say you're a buyer in this next year, you're going to buy a property.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But you're not going to just have one broker looking for you, right?
No, that's correct. I have multiple.
Exactly. So you're going to buy one, but there could be a broker that represents you that doesn't get paid. He doesn't want to do that, but that's part of the game historically. But that's driven me to, hey, Abel, here's a property I have under contract. Do you want it? Versus me, I'd rather spend more time doing that than searching for deals to put in front of people that I don't know if I'm going to get paid or not on.
Yeah.
It's interesting, man. It's really interesting.
It is. I think you've carved out a pretty good niche, but keep going.
Like when I was at Edge, I heard about this girl in San Antonio that made $400,000 on a wholesale fee.
Holy moly.
Look, we're all in this to make money, right? I mean, we want to do things the right way and build a legacy and everything, but real estate's about making money. And I heard that and I was like, whoa, I've got to figure this out. Like, I knew who this girl was. She wasn't doing anything crazy. It was like, I could do this. And then I'm working with people that, and basically what she did was she put a property under contract for $800,000. It was land, and she sold it to a multifamily developer for 1.2.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's amazing. She deserves that money. She found value, all this stuff. It's great. But then I have people that I'm working with that I know put way more time into commercial real estate than she does, and way more effort, and they see way more deals. And they never make money like that. They just go and they would find that deal and give it to the multifamily developer, and the multifamily developer would get the $400K discount, and he'd get his 3% commission. Right? And so it's a really crazy dynamic. Obviously, you can't wholesale it to your own client as a broker. That's like, you got to represent them. But
you're representing.
Yeah. So it's just this interesting niche, and I've pulled it off about 5 times now with a partner, and they're big deals. And we've got another one in the works, and it's like, this is the easiest. Like, it's taken a lot of time and effort and knowledge to get here, but it's by far the easiest money that I've ever made.
Okay, so you're going to help demystify some of this for our listeners. So I understood most of what you were talking about, right? But there's a paradigm that I don't understand, and that paradigm is as a broker, a commercial broker. One, because I've never been a real estate broker. Number two, I sure know there's a lot of difference between a commercial broker. There's no MLS. For those that are listening, let me rephrase too. For those that are listening that are passive investors, this is something that you're trying to understand. Hey, this conversation, what does it mean to me? As a passive investor, you're trying to find the best deal to put your money into, so somebody else can do all this work. They're going to do the deal. They're going to syndicate it or JV or whatever. You're probably, if you're listening to this, you're looking for like that syndication nugget. Which deal should I be investing in? Now, what Matt's talking about is trying to find these properties that are not listed on the MLS, like that's single family terms. There's not really an MLS for commercial properties. There's maybe LoopNet or Crexi is closest to it, but all the brokers, they have the relationship with an owner. The owner helps them quote unquote list it, which is then talk to all of their contacts to help them sell it. And that's what I would use that for. I go through a broker because there's no way I'm going to know all the owners that are trying to sell a property. And unless I market like crazy to try to find off market, I have a buddy that spent $100,000 in 6 months, $15K a month and he found this $1 million nugget and he made like $2 million or something crazy, right?
Worth it.
So, to him, completely worth it. If you're not that person like myself, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can put out that much marketing dollars in 6 months. But if I'm not, then I talk to a broker. So that's what Matt's basically, we're kind of talking all this stuff about is, the paradigm. So what I don't understand, Matt, and you probably have a good understanding of, is that broker paradigm, because I just don't have it, right? I think of it, I go, man, if I was the person, it's clear as day to me what you're doing. If I had the relationship and I was the person that would go do that, man, if I could just wholesale this thing, I'm not going to be a broker. I'm not going to work on 3%. I'm going to try to get it for 8 and sell it for 1.2, because if it's really worth 1.5, then I've just saved somebody $300,000 and I made my 400, and that guy's happy. So I completely understand it. So that's kind of what I forget my original frame of reference, but that's what I wanted to make sure everyone understands, in this conversation. Hello. You're listening to the 5 Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. If you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you're serious about achieving financial freedom. Are you ready to create your own path through multifamily investing for yourself and your family? Then I know you're going to appreciate our Investor's Guide to Multifamily Investing. It's titled Tackling Commercial Real Estate the Easy Way. We use this guide to invest ourselves in $93 million worth of real estate. So we're going to show you the basic mechanics of multifamily syndications and how to evaluate your next passive investment opportunity. So the best part, if you subscribe to our podcast now, leave us a review and a rating. I'm going to give you a free copy of our ebook. So please take a moment to do that now. Once you've done that, go to 5tcre.com/ebook, 5tcre.com/ebook. Make sure to let us know you left a review, and we're going to send you a free copy. So thank you so much for subscribing to the 5 Talents Podcast. We really appreciate it. So Matt, you've been finding these properties like crazy. What do you do first to market or find these off-market deals in commercial multifamily? Even then, I still mix up. What are you doing to find off-market properties, commercial properties in general, this $1 to $5 million sweet spot that you're in?
Yeah, and also just to be clear, I have wholesaled a deal that a broker had listed. So what it really comes down to at the end of the day is knowing value and seeing value that others don't. Because if I knew that it was worth more to someone else than that broker, his seller was probably pissed because I sold it to someone else for more. So that means that broker underpriced it. Yeah. And that's the thing, man, is, there's 16,000 licensed real estate agents. There's so many people doing real estate. Competitive advantage. The more and more I think about it, it's reality. It's like the more you know, the more you put in, the more than that other person, then you have the upper hand to make the money on the deal. Agreed. If you know it's worth $5,000 more than the broker listed it for, which is out there all the time. Yeah. So it's all about knowing that value and seeing it.
Yeah. We look at diamonds at the end of the process, carved out, clarity, cut, however the diamond should shape. And we see it pretty on a ring. However, I think very few people have actually seen a diamond in the rough, right? An actual diamond get carved out of a piece of rock. Who knows what that looks like? I don't know it. I've never seen it. So if you don't know what you're looking for, you don't know the diamond and the end process. If you've seen it, then you're like, oh, this is a huge diamond. It is amazing. And people are looking for the diamond in the ring and not in the rough.
I've struggled with it, man, because it's like, I really want to be a good person. And I'm like, am I taking advantage of people? And it's like, no, I'm not. This is, they're doing what they do. This is my knowledge. This is skill. Like, it's just like anything in the world, like buying a stock, buying a car, even with athletes, the more time you put in, the more you study, the more Tom Brady studies other teams, the better he is, And so that's what it is there's like that little niche of like just knowledge about values.
Agreed 100%. So before we talk about that, because I want to hit it, but what do you do to find these deals? Where are you marketing? How are you getting off?
Sorry.
How do you all get these inbound leads?
So at the end of the day, man, it's hardcore hustle. It's 24/7. And what I like to say is lines in the water. I've got hundreds of lines in the water. And what that means is offers, people that I've talked to that know I'm looking, all kinds of things. You make 20 to 30 a day sometimes. I've done 60 a day for 3 months at periods. And so I've got deals that coming to me tomorrow that were from 6 months ago or a year ago. This one we're wholesaling right now, I've been working on it. I had the contract a year ago and I dropped it, and then I did it again, and now we're wholesaling it. So it's just a constant outreach all the time. We've done everything. We have a wholesale company, so we have cold calls every day. We're not doing mailers now, but we've sent mailers. It's like any way you can find a deal ultimately would be mailers, cold call, door knock, network, door to door. If you do all these things, you'll find deals. And so I guess over time we've gravitated towards, now we're looking at more and more of the ones we like. Like I told you, I went to San Antonio the other day and looked at 2 complexes. I made an offer on both of them, low offer. But I guess here's another thing, man, is why would you not, like, every property potentially has a price at what you'd buy it. So why would you not make an offer on every property you look at? At least at the number that makes sense. And then you will get those deals. They'll come back to you.
Yes. And to answer your question, I think some people in the multifamily space, at least in my area, don't want to offend a broker with a low offer and put an LOI or go through the LOI part of it and look bad, and continuously do that. If every single deal that the broker brings you put in a low ball offer. However, kind of there's in between ground also, which is, putting something in writing and say, hey man, we're pretty far off. Here's why. Your expenses are way too low on this property for how I would manage it. And then, your gross potential rent versus, what you're planning on, for the future. I don't think it's going to actually have a value add component. So you're asking for 10. The best we could do is like 8. Do you want me to put that in writing, or, maybe I'll send you an email? What do you think? Right? Just ask. Is there something wrong with that? Now you're being respectful and also putting a number out, maybe in an email.
I think you make a good point. I think you make a really good point. And it's like, dude, to even just write it and put all that in there and send it to them and call them, right?
Yeah.
You know how long it takes them to look at it? 5 seconds. That if you do things the right way, like what you just said, and you give them a little reason, and you stay in touch with them, have coffee, have lunch. I've seen these brokers, man. Half of these guys never bought multifamily in their life. Half of them never owned it. They're selling a big picture, you know, and it's kind of crazy. Like when I was first getting started, I had this older guy who's like, this is a great deal. You should do this, all this stuff. And I'm like, the more I learned, I was like, dude, if I would have done that deal, I would have lost $700K. So these brokers are, who cares? Like, do your best job, but they're not out for your interest. And if they're not going to get that mad if you put up an offer and they see it. If you put it under contract and screw them around, that's a different story.
That's a different story. Tie up someone's deal for 3 months and someone's going to be really mad. Oh, everyone will be mad. But hold on. So before we kind of move, I heard off market, cold calling, mailers, knocking on doors, getting lists. What does your business look like today? How many people are, under your staff, and how many, what would you say your marketing expenses right now on a monthly basis?
All right, I'll try to give you a quick overview because it all kind of comes in. So we've got 30% of the property management company. We've got 30% of a construction remodeling company.
Okay.
50-50 with my partner on the brokerage. And then we've got me and that guy have 30% of the wholesale company. So all of these things bring leads to each other.
Yes.
Because we're all real estate related and everyone knows what we're doing. So on the wholesale company, we're probably spending like $3,000 to $4,000 a month. Not much. A lot of these things are coming from offers on multifamily, but our real estate brokerage pays $5,000. We have a guy salary position, $5,000 a month for marketing, and we put out new videos every day. He's, bless his heart, man, his wife's pretty sick in the hospital, so it's pretty bad. But we're just kind of like going all out on the social media. And so social media will get construction leads, which will get us in, maybe we're remodeling a commercial warehouse and then maybe we buy that or the one next door. Like we're just always looking. It's everywhere.
So maybe 5-ish, 3-ish, 8K-ish on a minimum just for those couple things.
I guess, but more than anything is the time.
Okay.
It's like,
that was my next kind of question here. So you're spending all this money, you got all these cycles, not counting networking for brokers, everything else, meeting with people, taking meetings, doing lunches. How much of that is your time getting in there and grinding for this? When you said 30 to 60 appointments or meetings, calls, is that in a week? Is that you? Is that all of you as a team?
It's me. That's my role, is to do that.
Boom. Yeah. Boom. Look at that, dude. Just an owner, at the top of everything for those listeners. He's getting his hands dirty. He's grinding. He's not above his own, role and position and title. It's like, this is what he does. That's awesome, man. Congrats, dude.
Yeah, man.
Now, so on the network,
75% of my time is networking.
75% of his time is networking. That's how he's finding a ton of deals. And then networking for brokers. Tell us about, like you said, you met a ton of them. I don't know what the numbers are again, but maybe go through that. How many years has it been? How many, relationships? How many meetings? Like, just give us a high level.
Dude, I don't think anyone's done it like this. It's pretty wild. It's been about 4 years of anybody and everybody I could.
Okay.
Anyone whose name I kept seeing, I'm getting in front of. I'm asking who they know. I'd meet with the biggest developer in Austin, and I'd go meet with the kid in high school. Like, I just take any meeting. And it was this crazy approach. Like, nobody gets it because they're like, you're just wasting your time. Like, I can't, people don't do that. People don't just go and like, the key of all of this, man, was I had value to bring. This was after everything. This was after the master's degree, after the work, after the mentors. So it was like, there's no way I can not go to a meeting and give this person value, because I know so much about something that if they somewhat care about real estate, I can get them excited. And then I can actually add value. I can get them in can contact with someone. I can help them analyze it. I can show them this. And so it gave me that confidence. But then I also put in the work to say, hey, I'll buy this guy's coffee. I'll buy this lunch. And I'll also give all the value. It was just give forever. And then it built this big network of people that I have the ability to tap into. And half the time when we have a deal, I'll wholesale it to someone that I met. And I know if I didn't meet this person, I wouldn't be wholesaling this deal. I just know that. And it's like, that was the difference in us making the money on this deal or not.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so awesome. Just a sheer volume, the numbers, a commitment, a dedication, the same thing. I think it sounds like when you were younger, 17-year-old kid, 7 a.m. meetings for 6 months, that, with no end in sight. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to keep grinding, except you've just made it all out commitment to kind of keep doing what you're doing. And that's how you're winning today, man. That's awesome. And all those all the broker relationships, the networking, that side, like you said, you can see the deals, analyze the deals. You can look at a number of them. And the more you look at, just the easier everything gets. It's like everything becomes clear, Yeah.
See what they sell for. And but I just started, one after another, broker after broker, coffee, lunch. Who are they? Who do you know? Who should I talk to?
Yeah.
How can I add value for you? Oh, you got listings? I'll get it in front of my buyer.
And how many commercial properties, in addition to the 750 houses, how many commercial properties do you own? Go through just a quick rundown.
Yeah, not a ton. So I've got
not a ton to some people.
Yeah.
The mass majority of people are like, what? Go ahead.
It's not, I just, I don't know, man. I've got this thing where I just want to shine the light on it. It's been a hustle, and some people come out and say they own 10,000 units and it means something different. I don't know, but I've got an 8-plex. I've got a 14-unit mobile home. I've got 4 duplexes. I've got a 4-plex. And then I've got like some passive investments in 4 or 5 syndication deals.
Yeah. And then you did some retail construction, retail development.
Yeah. Yeah. So did two 7,000 square foot retail buildings and leased them to Matt Green's Firebowl mattress firm and sold it with
Nice.
some partners. And we bought it. We got the leases signed. We developed it and we sold it.
I love it. I love it. Congratulations, man. If you don't mind me asking too, how old are you? How many years has this run been? We know you started when you were 17,
Yeah.
18, and then how old
I'm
are you now?
29. I'm 29.
Love it, man. Congratulations, brother. You're going to have amazing run the next 10 years, only bigger and better for you. And your wife and kids?
Yeah, two kids, man, and wife is a huge part of it. And every single person that I've brought on is, it's still a grind, man. I put in the work just as hard. And the one thing that I always want to get across to people is it's really, really hard when you're getting started. It really is, because it's when you're full commission. And once you see those results, it just gets easier to work harder, because you're like, wow, because you don't know it works. I mean, when I got my first, I had worked all these jobs and, got like $400, $500 paychecks, $1,000. And I did my first real estate deal. I got like $8,000, and it just blew my mind. Like, what?
You're like, what happened here? I thought we were in real estate. Oh man, that's awesome. Before you go, because we're gonna have you back again to talk about all kinds of marketing stuff. And I have a few minutes more. I don't know if you have a hard stop or not. But
I'm good, man.
Okay, cool. Before you go, where can our listeners, maybe investors, people that want to get into your world a little bit more, where do they reach out to go, to talk with you, to network with you, whether I'm a broker, an investor, or somebody that's trying to learn?
I'm easy, man. I'm on Facebook. Matt Teifke at Gmail is my email. We've got Teifke Real Estate website. You type in Teifke Real Estate on YouTube. We're pretty prevalent. We're doing a lot on social media, so really easy to find. Right on.
We'll put all those links in the show and in the notes too. So tell us about your YouTube page, because when I first how I got connected to you, I had one of my guests on the podcast connected me to Matt, and they said, you need to meet Matt. He's in Austin. You guys are right up the road. And this is one of my buddies on the podcast, Adam Carswell. He's in New Zealand. And he's like, you need to meet with Matt. He's down the road from me. He's in Austin. He's a super connector. And I go, okay, well, cool. Let me reach out to him. And then Matt, I think you put in a couple links. Oh yeah, Abel, look forward to meeting you. Check out my YouTube page. So I got to look through a little bit of that before. Tell us what's going on your YouTube page, man.
Yeah, man, that's a good. I'm glad you said it, because ever since I've been doing the reaching out, I was on I just took this huge social media approach, and would always I'd go on Bigger Pockets and I'd answer 100 unanswered posts every day. I'd go on all the Facebook pages, and every time I would do it, I would put, TRE, and I'd put our YouTube channel, every time. And
Nice.
it just started getting out there. So that's what it was, man. Just constantly staying in front of people, adding that value. We've been going at this YouTube and social media for about 3.5, 4 years. I've got a great buddy who runs it, pay him a full salary. He does, filming, editing, posting. We try to do a video every day. I mean, we've got hundreds of videos. We've got a podcast that we did in the past with 100 and something episodes. We got a new one that's got about 9 episodes. It's called The Real Estate Podcast. I don't know if we trademarked that or what, but they said it was available. The Real Estate Podcast. But we just go at it, man. We're posting. Like I said, my buddy, his wife's not doing well. She's got cancer, and praying for her, man. And so it's we've had this big push for a video a day, and he's got this thing going on. And you want to know something just real is I'm still paying him. He's not putting out videos, but I'm paying him, and it's expensive. But I'm not going to let my guy down. And it's been about a month and a half, 2 months since this has been going on, and today he's like, it's getting pretty bad. So I just say that because it's taking care of people, and that's a freaking extreme example, but I would do that if it was something else, and that's how you get good people on your team. And so Andrew has been the biggest part of that ever. I've given him all the rope in the world to just go do your thing, Andrew. Make it cool, make it fun, have fun. Let's film it. Let's go. and it's helped build a really cool brand that people reach out to us, and we still feel like we have a lot of ways to go there, but we're committed to it. We're not giving up on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there's probably a ton of value. If I go on to the YouTube, I can see all kinds of videos and all kinds of insight, and it's kind of like your daily process, right? Going to meet a new seller, I'm looking through a property, I'm developing something, I'm making offers, whatever those are. It's like your daily thing, right?
It's all of it. Yeah.
Just the Gary V approach, right? Go work and then document it all. And that's pretty freaking awesome. That's pretty cool. How long have you been doing that?
4 years.
4 years. Oh, congrats, man. I'm super happy to have you on the show, and we get to bring some additional exposure for you, my friend. And then now, as I hear kind of commercial deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wholesale commercial deal 1 to 5 million, 1 to 5 million, 1 to 5 million. I hope to work with you in the future on something. We'll connect on something since we're close to each other, man.
Absolutely, man. Would love to. Yeah.
Is there anything today that you wanted to touch on that I didn't ask about, I didn't bring up, and you wanted to, just really either highlight, or if there's not, maybe last parting words or wisdom, insight, however much time you need?
I really I don't know, man. I freaking love this. I've committed to it like not many people have. I want to be great. And I don't want to be cocky or arrogant about it. And I want to shine light on stuff. I feel very blessed. I'm not super motivated by fancy things, but I want to do some big things in this life. And I see all the possibility in the world for anybody that wants to commit to this. I see no reason why you can't go do the same exact thing. My mom did it, single mom. I've got Black female full-time nurse agents that are with us that are doing it every day, people that could have every excuse in the world. And I think, it all comes down to how much you want to put in. And if you want to put it in, I want to be a resource to help you do that. And I think I can be a resource, and I'll match you, and so I see how this can change your life, really change your life and be generational wealth. And I'm passionate about it. I think everyone should have real estate. I really do. I don't see why not.
Yeah, man. I love it. Your kids are going to be in a different category, different position, a different, way of thinking, just like you were, a different way of thinking because of your mom.
And that's a blessing.
And vice versa. It's going to be awesome.
And that's the biggest blessing. And that's what, I could have not had that mom, right? But maybe I can plant that seed for someone else. So that's really what it is I want people if people, there's some people that were going to complain about it, but if people are really going to do it, I want to help them get there. If they really want to put in that work, I don't see why they can't.
My man, Matt Teifke. I love it, brother. Well, good, man. Thank you so much for joining us today on the 5 Talents podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. If you got something today from this show, which I know you did, leave us a review, leave us a 5-star rating, give Matt, reach out to him, go to his YouTube, go connect, go learn some stuff. And you're going to get some value a bunch of different ways from him, from us. And hopefully we, you got more than a few things that will change your paradigm and change your approach on how you're doing things for you, your family, the legacy that you guys are creating. So thank you very much, Matt. Thanks a lot, brother. This is awesome.
Thanks, man. I enjoyed it. Appreciate it. Really
loved it. So thank you very much. We hope to have you again. And in the future, we can do a case study on your next big freaking deal. And we'll say congrats as always, man. But thank you very much and appreciate you joining the show.
Cool, man. Everyone get after it, guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the 5 Talents podcast with your host, myself, Abel Pacheco. Each week, we're going to bring you interviews from industry experts and commercial real estate investors who follow their dreams and achieve massive success. Before you leave, let me ask you a few questions. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you learn something valuable? Was your mind stretched to what's possible and what you can achieve? Do you want other experts just like the one you heard today? If you answered yes to any or all of those questions, then please take a moment to subscribe to the 5 Talents podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and most importantly, leave us a written review. Tell us what you liked. Tell us your favorite guest. Give us any feedback. I'm excited to learn and improve so you can get a more valuable show. So thank you again for subscribing to the 5 Talents Podcast.